Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for choosing to spend your Saturday morning with me. Lots of familiar names from last week. Thank you very much for joining you all. All right. Let us get started, shall we? Um, Hi, my name is Kayuri Anand. And I'm here to talk to you today about future proofing your career with AI. Essentially, what I want to talk to you about is this anxiety that's going on in the market. But before we get there, let me quickly introduce myself. I've spent over 20 years building products. A lot of them have been machine learning products and AI products. And over the last 5 years, I have been helping people learn AI. So went from building AI products to actually teaching how to use AI products to people. Um, and I've been involved with a lot of different organizations. You can take a look at it here. What's important to top of mind today is that I want to help you get from AI novice to AI savvy. And I have lots to focus on today. So let's get started. Quick top of mind things, cameras on if you can, helps me stay engaged and make sure that I'm landing the topics and I haven't actually put you to sleep. So thank you very much. Thank you, Puneet. Uh, Whoever can turn their cameras on, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jody. Let's make this a little interactive. Corey, thank you. Mike's off. We have a lot to cover. I have a Q&A session at the end. So any questions, please hold them till the end and we will come back to it. Although I will take any emojis, any reactions, any reactions that you want to give me, I'll take it. Let's keep it interactive and let's get started, shall we? Okay. Usually my lightning sessions follow this structure. We start with a mindset shift. What's going on in the market? What's the mindset? What's the right way to think about things? We talk about one or two AI concepts that are top of mind that I want to land today. Then we go into a hands-on demo or a walkthrough. Then you leave with handouts to apply what you learned almost immediately. My goal in the next 45 minutes is to give you tangible skills and tips that you can start using as early as tomorrow. So hang in there with me and let's go. Does this sound familiar? My company just mandated AI. Everyone's expected to use it. Nobody showed me how. I don't know where to start. Lots of different ways to say this, but a lot of different conversations I've had. Exact same feeling that learning AI feels like a mountain to climb. A couple of different types of people I meet. Some really don't want to learn it, but they have to because they need to in order to stay employed, stay relevant in the market. Some really want to learn but don't know where to start. Lots of tools in the market, really no roadmap to start. So today I'm going to focus on, at the end of the session, you'll get a 30-day sort of a program. We're going to approach this like we do any new skill, if you're going to the gym, we're going to approach it very methodically, step by step. So instead of focusing on 20 different AI tools, we're going to focus on how to actually apply that. So, um, this is the mindset shift that I was talking about, right? Learning AI isn't like all about tools. Okay, there is new stuff happening every single day. But I don't want you to worry about how you're going to keep up with all the new stuff. A lot of it isn't quite relevant to non-technical folks. Um, to start with, maybe in a year or so, maybe when all of that new AI technology turns into applications that you get to use, maybe that's when it's relevant. Right now, really, like there is a lot of noise, and the real signal that one needs to focus on is use it for your day to day. And how do you use it to make your life better? That's the real value in it. And everything else, like I If you are one of those people that needs somebody else to tell you to ignore it, hear me say it, ignore the noise and focus on just what I'm going to tell you today for the next 30 days. And I promise you, you will be upskilled. So we're going to build it like a muscle every day, step by step, using the 30-day plan. Um, and we're going to today, instead of thinking about I'm behind, we're going to reframe that thought process to be I'm just getting started. Today is day zero. Let's get started. So, 30-day AI challenge, which is a step by step structured approach that I'm going to share with you at the end. There is a bit of prep work. We are in day zero today, remember. So we're going to do the day zero stuff. We're going to do the prep work today before we go to day one and get started to applying to our own individual needs, our own individual roles and jobs so that we can future proof our career. Okay, ready? All right, so let's get to work. There are 3 steps in which we get there. The day zero prep requires 3 steps. Step one is you're going to map your job. And I'll explain each one of these in a second. Step two is you're going to do an AI role audit. How does AI apply to your job? Instead of focusing on random tools, we're going to be very strategic. We're going to be very, very intentional in how we're going to use AI. And then tool is just a means to an end. It's this step two, the how and where is the kind of the secret sauce. And then step three is going to be our AI opportunity map, which results into what we are going to do in the next 30 days. Cool? So far, so good? Okay. So oh, here's a thought. We're going to focus on this framework called jobs to be done. So here's some basic concept of what that is. Um, Clayton Christensen is a Harvard professor and a very was a very respectable name. He's no longer with us, but he said people don't buy products; they hire products to get a job done. So now, if you were applying this to your own role, to your own career, what is the job that you were hired to do, and where is the friction in doing that job? That's what we are focusing on. So it's gonna we only have 45 minutes, so this may seem really fast because I want to take you to the through the whole roadmap. But I highly encourage you to do some thinking after the session later today, tomorrow, to actually deeply think about these. What is the job that you are? If you were a consultant that was hired to uh, drive outcomes, what is that outcome that your company hired you to do? And what is the friction in that? And there is a framework to do that. So if you've never heard about what is jobs to be done framework, I've left the link here in the deck. So you're welcome to go down that rabbit hole and read up all about it. There are several different frameworks. I chose this because it's very impact focused, it's lightweight, it's not overly theoretical. I was able to summarize what it means in this one slide. So think about it like this. Your role, current role, whatever it is that you're doing at work, think about it from this lens. What is the outcome you're responsible for? What is the end result? The what is the end result of why you were hired to do this job? Okay. Once you have that, now walk backwards from that outcome to jot down what are the micro jobs or the recurring tasks that you do in order to deliver that what. So for this one, think about the how. Like, how do you actually get to that end goal, get to that outcome for your organization? What are the small things, the day to day tasks that you do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually? What are those things, those micro jobs that you do in order to deliver the what, the outcome that you were hired for? Then, now you will have a whole big list of micro jobs. If you're taking notes, don't worry about it. We're gonna have template that you can fill out at the end, and it will walk you through this. I just want you to think with me here right now and see if you can come up with these things right on the spot. Because if you can come up with even one thing, one line item for the functional job, one line item for micro job, one line item for the friction, you're on the right path. And then you can do a deeper thinking session and go through the template I'm going to give you to actually fill it out and iterate on it over take some time, take some mindful moments to actually think and fill it out. Okay, so now you have functional job, the what you were hired to do, the micro jobs, the how you deliver the thing that you were hired to do, and then think about it. Think about all the things that slow you down. So now for friction points, I want you to think about what are the things that you do every single day that you would just you wish that somebody would do it for you. Or if your company was to give you an assistant, an intern, what are the trivial, menial, redundant, boring, repetitive, predictable, mundane tasks that you would give to that intern where your years of experience and expertise is not needed? It's just a thing that needs to be done. Anything that feels like the verbs that I just used, put them in the friction point list. And now we're going to think about it like this. So we're not going to worry about AI is going to replace my job and there is job losses and there is all of this anxiety and all of this noise. We're going to focus on how can you leverage AI to automate the menial, trivial things in your day to day to improve. And the end result of this is going to be two things. Your productivity will improve. You will understand what AI is good at, what it's not good at. You will learn to discern between two aspects of your job: the manual, tedious execution stuff, and the actual taste, the thing that makes you intellectually superior than these AI tools. And then once you figure that out, that's where you lean in to future proof your career. Cool? So find the friction. That's the work that we have to do on day zero, which is today. Okay. Once you have found the friction, what do you do? So once you have found the friction, you are going to go through this structured exercise of what we call the AI role audit. And AI role audit is essentially this idea that there are three things, or you can use AI in three different ways. So you can either automate the frictionful task that we identified completely. So you can just fully outsource that to AI, or you can augment that work. So you can let AI do the heavy lift, the data analysis, the finding information, the review of massive amounts of information. But you apply the judgment. So let AI serve up the facts for you so you can make the final decision and identify the next steps. Or the third way that you can use AI, and I highly encourage you to use it in this third way for something at least, is to partner with it, meaning that you think together back and forth. So don't use, or I shouldn't say don't, but instead of using AI to do the first draft of your job, if you had to say, for example, if you had to write a report, do the first draft. Like when I want to, I use it in this manner very frequently when I'm building lesson plans. So I have an idea of how I want to run a specific lesson. What's the mindset? The four things that I mentioned at the beginning: the mindset, the core concept, the hands-on exercise, and then the handout. I start with already having some idea, and then I use Claude as a thinking partner, as a sparring partner, Use it like a mentor, a senior leader to kind of brainstorm back and forth, saying, here's the main concept I want to land. Let's talk about how should we do it and things like that. And you will see when you use it in this partner capacity, it really improves, pushes the boundary of your thinking. It really improves what is known as taste, which is your intellectual superior capability that AI is not quite good at yet. Cool. So that's step two. Quick recap: do a jobs audit, figure out what you were hired to do, how you deliver that impact by finding out the different jobs that you do, and then finding the friction. Once you found the friction, take each friction point and assess it through the lens of these AI role audit. That friction point, should you automate it, should you augment it, or should you partner with AI to address that friction point and remove that friction? Then once you have done that, then you are going to talk about the AI opportunity map. So now you will have a list of friction points and different ways that you can use AI to address those friction. I guarantee you that you will have 8 to 10 at minimum, with minimum amount of thinking put into this. So where do you start? Again, you'll end up with a lot of noise. There are 100 things that you can do. What should be the first thing you should do? What should be the second or the third thing that you should do? So here's a little prioritization framework. How do you prioritize those friction points in using AI? So the end goal of this is that we want to get the most ROI. We want to find the lowest hanging fruit and address those. So find the tasks that are repetitive, that are at least repeating on a weekly basis. Then find the low risk output. So repetitive meaning if you have to do something weekly or daily or several times a day, find those, highlight those. Then look at the low risk. So by low risk, what I mean is, if AI got this task wrong, would it be the end of the world? Having a typo in an email, heck, I might even have a typo in these slides somewhere. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to stop me from delivering the message that I'm delivering to you today. So those are the types of things that you want to identify. Lower risk, where another rule of thumb I use for this aspect, low risk, is would I give this to an intern? Would I trust an intern who's not as skilled, has less than a year's worth of experience to do this? And if the answer is yes, highlight that. Then the third type of these ones that you want to highlight are the high friction items. So the things that are costs you real time, real energy, costs you hours in a day, which takes you away from doing the real job that you were hired to do, which is applying your skill set, applying your experience, applying your thinking, nuance, and using your intellectual capability. So the manual things that you spend a lot of time, like cleaning spreadsheets and things like that. Okay. Once you have this list, this is where you start. So you're not going to start with automating the hardest part of your job. That you keep with yourself. At least in the first 30 days, I want you to keep that with yourself. I want you to automate the most repetitive, the lowest risk, and the highest friction tasks using AI. Okay. So let's look at the actual worksheet. Let me get you to the actual worksheet. Somebody from my team will drop the worksheet here for you. And we're going to go through the worksheet. I'm going to walk you through one example of how we're going to do all of that. And you can either side by side do this yourself or take some time, because doing the role audit is going to be your most time consuming task here, because you're going to truly think about the actual work. that you were, the outcome you will know, right? Like if you are an operations manager, you know that you want to ensure that your main core functional job is to ensure that the business runs predictably so leadership can focus on growth. But this is a generic thing, right? What that actually means for your role, one ops manager from one company versus another will have a completely different definition of what this means. So I want you to get to that level of definition of what your job friction point is. This handout, this link will have, let me make it a little bit bigger. Y'all can see that. It gives you a little bit you can read up on the jobs to be done framework here, but if you keep going, I want you to get to step one. And here you can document the actual core functional job that you were hired to do. So let's say I'm a product manager. I am hired to build uh, products that solve key problems that people want to pay to solve, right? Because there are a million problems. As a product manager, I want to solve the problem that people will pay to solve, because that's the only way we're going to sell the product. But what does that actually mean, right? So in every job, you have tasks that you do that gets you to that outcome. So I want you to actually think about those tasks. So for me, my first starting point or one of the jobs that I do is I talk to customers and understand their pain points, right? What I do next is I understand the pain points and I synthesize. I've spoken to 100 customers. They will have 100 different, similar, different pain points. The actual reason of talking to customers is to find signals, right? So the friction point here is that keeping notes, finding data, finding the signal from those conversations on what's actually the problem that people are facing. So the friction point for me is to analyze and synthesize, can't spell today. Analyze and synthesize the call transcripts to find signals. That's my friction point. I spoke to 100 customers. It's a hard thing for me. It takes a lot of time for me to actually track my notes down and find actual data from these signals. So I would go through, map my job, my day-to-day tasks that I do in a list here. So I want you to take a moment after the class, use this handout to truly get as nuanced, as granular as you can, and map this. Take a lot of time doing this because this is going to be very helpful in you will keep coming back to this list in the next 30 days because there are tasks. The 30-day challenge is built like one challenge a day that builds on things. So you might be given a challenge for do do X task, right? Like here, summarize a long document with Claude. If you have, you might, if you don't have an idea right away on what that summarization is or what document you should summarize that will add value, you might come back to this step one, part B, list of things, and you may have more, like feel free to translate this into a spreadsheet if you need to, if you have more information than the columns that I've given here. But this becomes kind of your bucket list of things to use AI with. That is going to make a real tangible difference for you in your job. Okay. So far, so good. Y'all are with me? Okay. I see Jody nodding. So we are going to keep going. Once you have done this, then now you have a long list of things, long list of problems that you can use AI to solve. So how are we going to do this? So I've given some tips on you can even use AI to do this, but if you were to do this yourself, basically look at each friction point here and then think about, should I automate this? Should I augment this? Or should I partner with AI? And here's some rule of thumb thinking mechanism. So for example, uh, let's take my task of I speak to customers, I want to synthesize the call transcript. Is it repetitive and rule based? Like, is it always the same? If it misses a key detail here and there, is it the end of the world? It's time consuming, but is it low judgment? In my case, I want to say no, it's not low judgment because the data that gets analyzed and synthesized, I want to look at those insights and make a decision on what product feature I should build next. So the judgment is actually the most important part of that exercise. So I'm not going to automate it completely. So then I'm going to look at the next level up, which is augment. So is it complex and pattern based? High output volume, stakes are moderate, uh, expertise dependent, but the structure is known. Somewhat, yes, I have a structure in which I want these data analysis call transcripts to end up looking like. So perhaps this is the right level of AI use that I want to do. So I'm going to let AI handle the analysis. I'm going to let it synthesize, even create the first draft of list of product features that we should build purely based on customer conversations. But as a product manager, I use other data points to make that decision. So I'm going to keep that final decision with myself. And then use that. So in that use case, I said, I'm going to augment it. And then I wrote a prompt here, which says, here's my raw project data and notes, my call transcripts, draft a one page. If you're doing a leadership update, you can have it do the first draft. I say, draft a list of prioritized features only based on the customer conversations I've had and so forth. So now you have the list of friction points. You identified which friction point is going to be using which type of AI and how. Then you are going to actually update it here. So take the micro job from the initial list, um, take the friction score, like was it very frictionful, is it less frictionful, and the way you want to use AI here. Now you have a prioritized list of how you are going to use AI in the next 30 days for your specific job, for your specific role. So we're going to make the action plan. Based on all of this data here together, a list will emerge. So I want you to look at that list again and answer these questions. So your quick win micro job, like what's a quick win? What's easy to do? And what's like a problem that you happen to have on a daily basis? Write that here. Then the friction that it's costing you today, like like I mentioned, if it's a weekly thing, write down how many hours a week you spend on it. If it's a daily thing, like email summaries or other things, write down exactly how much time or energy or quality that you spend on it today. The easiest thing for now is to focus on the time that you spend on it, probably to identify the highest stakes, because it's harder to quantify energy. If you have quality metrics, you can quantify it if you're measuring it, but if you're not measuring it, it's going to be harder to quantify. So focus on time, how much time each task takes you on a daily basis, and write that down. The archetype you're using, so if you're going to automate it, or if you're going to augment it, or if you're going to partner with AI. And then you can either put the Claude prompt here that you're going to use for that specific thing as your starting point. Of course, eventually you will end up going back and forth, but you can put your starting prompt here. If you don't know what the prompt should look like, there is a technique we call meta prompting. For those of you that don't know what that is, essentially you can just tell any large language model that you use, so AI, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT. You can say, "Hey Claude, I want to do data analysis for my customer call transcripts. Generate a prompt for me." And it will actually generate a prompt for you, and you can use that prompt. That technique is known as meta prompting, and it's really easy to use. It could cost you a lot more tokens, but when you're getting started, I say just go for it, you know. Um, or if you don't know how to explain what you need AI to do, you can also say it and it will give you a prompt. You can always use that as a starting point and edit it further. So work together with it. Any problem you have, tell tell Claude that you want to solve it, give it some details and ask it to write a prompt for you. So you can do that. And then because we say, right, a wish, what is it, a wish without an action plan is just a wish or something like that. So we're going to make this tangible. We're going to hold ourselves accountable by saying this task happens every Friday night or every Monday morning. I'm going to use it on next Monday. And actually a little bit of accountability will be needed. Put a date, hold yourself accountable. And then also measure it. So what does success look like? Write it down in tangible terms. So if the friction causes you 15 minutes today, you know it's successful. Your effort, this little experiment of yours in using AI to automate that job is successful if you spend less than 15 minutes. Or maybe for you, success looks like this. It's a very complex task. Um, Highly suggest you don't start with complex, but let's say you choose to. Then you say, normally it takes me 2 hours to do this. First time it's going to take me 3 hours because I have to teach Claude how to think like me. But I still consider that as success because I learned how to use AI to do this. And now I know the boundaries of it, not just what's possible, but from real experience, I know what's not possible. And B, next week, it's not going to take me 3 hours. It's going to take me half an hour or maybe 15 minutes because I took the time to teach Claude, build systems, repeatability. So initially, it might take a little bit longer for you. Uh, and so for that reason, bake that into your success metrics so you can truly measure the experiment success. Cool. So then once we have done this, we are going to go into our 30-day plan. You can even revisit this. The key I want you to leave with is here's some rule of thumb. These are mental models to think about these things. These are not, don't think of these as like absolute gospel truth, but more things that rough boundaries around your own learning. And you will build your own mental models as you do these in the next 30 days. So come back and do this thought exercise of reassessing this whole sheet after 30 days. So day 31, come back and look at this and reassess from top to bottom and see where you like take stock of where you are like a report card. Okay. So so far, quick recap. In order, quick recap, we learned a lot of anxiety, lot of noise. People are mandated to use AI. No real hand holding, not much training available. You get access to all the tools that you want from your organization and you're expected to learn it. Here's a 30-day plan on how to learn it. But before you start the 30-day plan tomorrow, um, do the day zero work. So the day zero work is to map your current job of what is the job that you were hired to do. What are the micro jobs or the recurring tasks that you do to deliver that outcome that you're hired to do? Funnel that into the most frictionful tasks that you have during the day. Take those frictionful tasks and assign a type of AI use label to those frictionful tasks, whether you want to automate, augment, or partner with AI to do that task. Then put another filter on top of those friction tasks and find the most repeatable, the most expensive or mundane tasks. Those are your low-hanging fruits. Then you make an action plan for each of those tasks, one card for each of those tasks on how you're going to automate those. Then you are ready for your 30-day plan. So let's look at the 30-day plan. Here. So each week I've designed this to build incrementally on each week. So I would encourage you to not skip weeks. You are welcome to mix up days, like do what it says on day 6, do it on day 5. That's fine. But for your own learning, don't jump weeks because it builds incrementally. So week 1 is going to be take today and tomorrow to do your actual AI role audit. Use the step-by-step guide from today's session. And I want you to identify top 3 wins. Then day 2 is ask Claude something that you Googled last week. These are little, if you look at these, just follow them every day. They are designed to take very little time at the beginning, and they're designed to get you comfortable, like baby steps. When you learn to swim, you're not going on the deep end right away, you're starting slowly. These are very much designed to get you super comfortable. This list assumes that you use AI very sporadically, you don't use it every day, or if you use it every day, you only use it like in replacement of Google Chat just to get answers. But this list assumes that you don't have a structured way of embedding AI into your day-to-day life. And so it's going to get you started like very much from 0 to 1, but week 2 will get you a little bit deeper. So it's going to tell you how to use Claude to prepare for a meeting or ask Claude to review something that you wrote and so forth. And as you go, there are checkpoints built in between. So on day 14, end of like midpoint of the 30-day plan, it's gonna ask you to update your AI opportunity map. So it's like a fit test. How far have you come? You started with 0 or 1 push-ups. How many push-ups can you do now, having done that every single day for 14 days? And so forth. So I want you to actually use this every week. Next Saturday's session, I'm going to ask if how many of you have used it? How many of you have used it for 7 days in a row? And I'm really, I put a lot of time in building this. So I really hope that you all use it. And if you do use it, do let me know on LinkedIn. If you have questions on how to do something that's on the list and that you're not sure of, also let me know on LinkedIn, because that way I know how to make this more helpful for you. And pretty much, I think that is all we have. That is all I wanted to share with you today. Um, I'm gonna stop sharing. A couple of things top of mind before I go into asking questions or opening up for any questions that you might have. This was a really quick kind of a TLDR on how to do this. We only have 45 minutes, so I went really fast through it. Go through it, do the thought process, and reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have more questions on this. The initial jobs to be done framework, there are more aspects to it than just the functional job, which we go much deeper into the cohort. When we start, we spend a whole week doing this and getting you set up to use AI to truly set you up for success in the actual course. So if you're interested in going further deeper into this after you've done your 30-day program, you're welcome to join the cohort. We start that on July 20th. So there's still time. We're at June 6th. Follow this plan step by step, see how far you get, and then you'll be ready to take a deep dive into the next level. Or if you're one of those people who are not so good at doing this by yourself and you need an accountability partner, you want more hand holding than just a 45-minute session, then I highly encourage you to join the cohort as well. It starts on July 20th. Thank you for those of you who have joined me today. Thank you. And I am happy to answer any questions, but that was all the content. So if you have things to do and you want to drop off, feel free to drop off. You're not going to miss out on anything key. Recording will be sent in the next 24 hours. All of these handouts will be sent with the recording. Let me know how it goes. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Tell me if you use it. And if you don't, also tell me why you didn't use it, because I did spend a lot of time building it. And my intention is for it to be helpful. Thank you. I'm open for any questions. Okay, no questions. Thank you very much. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning with me. And I will speak to you guys again on next Saturday. Bye.